So good to see our dear friend Meghan Triplett of the Yes Network. She covers all things Brooklyn Nets. And Meghan, honestly, for once, I'm going to make it about me. I just really want to see you and I want to talk to you because I want to talk about the Nets in a non dramatic, non dysfunctional tone and tenor. Because it's like everybody, including my brother from another, Michael Holley, everybody get their jokes off at the expense of the Brooklyn Nets and how it all fell apart. But there's a lot of smiles around this franchise, especially today, now that Jacque Vaughn has been signed to a contract extension. Take us inside that decision on the part of the organization, but also just the mood around the Nets that those who shall not be named have moved on, and these young guys are doing their thing.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Michael. I definitely appreciate you doing that for me. You know, it's the break, and so I'm back home with my family, and everyone wants to talk about drama this, soap opera this, but it really is a good day today because, as you mentioned, Jacque Vaughn signed that extension, and all credit goes to Jacque. When you think about everything that he has had to go through these last couple of months and what he has done with this group, and you can rewind all the way back to the beginning of the season and then to, Steve Nash being let go and then Jacque Vaughn having to step in and being the acting head coach and what he's able to do during even that stretch and bringing the guys together. And now he's in this new era, this new chapter. And no matter who is on this roster, I have to say Jacque Vaughn, when he steps in, he just has this presence about him. And it's the same thing that Sean Marks said in that press release was just that his character, the guys believe in him, you trust him, he represents the borough very well. He played for the New Jersey Nets. He spent 7 years here with the Brooklyn Nets. And so he knows this team, he knows this organization, he knows the culture, and he knows these guys, and everyone's kind of bought in, and he's had to go through so much. And he's been the guy to kind of lead them out of all of the drama, as you call it.
Yeah, I really like this decision, Meghan. I mean, Jacque has been waiting his turn for it feels like so long, and I'm happy that they made this decision. He's spoken a lot about this being the new era, and these players now they want to learn, and when I heard that, I agreed with him, but I was just wondering, do you think at all when he's saying they want to learn, they want to be coached, that sort of a thing, is that just about the new players now, or is that kind of like a statement on the switching of errors? Because before they brought in, not to stick too much on who has left, but they brought in the past guys and they had much more input, I think, in decisions. But these are younger players, they're looking to be groomed. And so they want to be coached. And do you think that's him kind of saying yes, I'm here to do that and bring this into the next era? Or was it just, I was just wondering if there was anything behind his comments when he said that.
I think there's a lot behind that comment of this is a new era, because you have to think he has to say that because for the Brooklyn Nets fans, they've gone through a lot too. You've been cheering on a different group, and every single season someone has left, and this year it's different. And so the expectations, they're still the same of we believe that we can make it into the playoffs, but it is changed a little bit. The way that they're going to play is going to be different. That's when he says the new era of the game. And when he says that these guys are ready to be coached, I think that is every single player. I think we kind of forget there's only 4 new guys. There's only 4 new players. And there's so many players who have spent time with Jacque Vaughn, who know Jacque Vaughn. Think about Joe Harris, who spent many, many seasons under Jacque Vaughn, and whether he was an assistant or acting interim, now he's head coach. These guys all do really, really want to be coached, and they love the game of basketball. You've seen Cam Thomas step in, and when his number is called, he has delivered. And Royce O'Neal, this is his first season, but he's had to go through different stretches of playing minutes. And Nick Claxton has been that guy, that big, who, whether he's the defensive guy, now people are saying, could he be the defensive player of the year? He is that rim protector. All these guys want to be coached, and they want to get better. And every single day, yes, they know all the outside noise has been there, but it's proven on the court. When they say step out there, they want to put the best product out there on the court. And so I do think it's a little bit of a new era, but it's also the same guys who it shows you the character of every single player, every single coach, every single person within that organization.
So what's the direction now? They tried the super team thing. We know how that played out. Houston's got their picks, but obviously, they got some stuff back, some pieces back from Phoenix and Dallas and so on and so forth. I read where forgot which team it was, that was willing to give up like 4 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. Like, are they
The Grizzlies.
Memphis.
Was it the Grizzlies? Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. Right in your backyard. You could break news on two teams. But I guess, but do they have a plan, or is it just, hey, let's just get to the playoffs this year and see what happens? At 34-24 and currently in 5th. So do they have a plan for the long term yet, or are they still kind of, I guess, decompressing from the failed super team era?
I think we're still processing how everything played out, and we're still going. And right now, what's at front is this season. We're still thinking about what this season looks like. And the first step was we're going to tell the fans out there that Jacque Vaughn is going to be our guy. He's going to be the coach that's going to lead the way and lead this charge. And then you look at who you have on your group and these developing players like Cam Thomas. And then you have Mikal Bridges. You brought Spencer Dinwiddie back, and who has been the vocal leader within this locker room. And you have, as I mentioned, Nick Claxton. I think that they're looking at this season, but they're looking at the season ahead, and that's how the new era comes about. I think we're still going to figure out what this does look like. Sean Marks had a really good quote saying that we're not retooling anything. We're just like rearranging some things. The expectations are still there, and I do think this organization is going to take a deep dive inside and talk about, okay, where did we get things wrong? How do we move forward? I still think they're going to look at that as a whole internally, and we're going to figure it out as we move forward. I feel good about everything just because of how the players have constantly been able to step in, and how Jacque Vaughn and Sean Marks have had to figure out and like been those vocal leaders to figure out where does this go from here. I still think we're still trying to figure out when it looks at like ahead of the future, like 2 or 3 seasons down. But for right now, they're looking at what we have left. This next couple of stretches of game from All-Star break, can we make it into the playoffs with this group? And we'll see where it goes after that.
Yeah, I love this for Brooklyn, like the borough, being a New Yorker and watching this. It feels a little bit like history's repeating itself, because there was that Kenny Atkinson era of the Nets with like D'Angelo Russell, and they were like a fun young team. And now you see this team, and I got to tell you, because I'm a Warriors fan, I was not a fan of Mikal Bridges on the Suns, and I just think he's so much more likable now that he's a Net. And I love the name Brooklyn Bridges. So dope. And so he just looks like he's having a good time. Cam looks like he's having a good time. They're just like they look like they can be like a fun young team. And I think growing that and building that in a borough like Brooklyn could be so good for the fans' connection to this team. And I want to know what your thoughts would be on that in terms of them just rebuilding and growing versus continuing to go for the super team.
It's going to be different, as you mentioned. I think as you mentioned, you're from New York area, and I'm new to the area, and talking to a lot of Brooklyn Nets fans, they've gone through a lot. It's going to look different. The one good thing about Mikal Bridges, and we know that he's a guy that will always step out on the court. He's always available, which is the best thing ever, that he's always available. That's the best availability to have. But he's also from the Philadelphia area, not too far from New York City. He mentioned about how he's always wanted to live in the city, and now is his opportunity. He's got a lot of family and friends in the area. And when you think about even bringing Spencer Dinwiddie, who spent 5 years with Brooklyn, he even mentioned that his son was raised here, and it was always an organization, a place that he always thought about maybe potentially coming back to. And so you're bringing these guys who have some history within the organization, within the city, within the area. And so as you start this new era, it is exciting. And I understand how people can't forget. I think the grieving process, you have to give people time to grieve. We all need time to grieve over it. And this is my first season, so I'm not all the way into like how a lot of people are 3 years deep and they've gone through so much and so much turmoil and so many ups and downs. Give it time to grieve. But what you saw from those last couple of games before the All-Star break with these guys and that excitement, as you mentioned, Nat, you do feel it. You do feel it in the locker room, and you see this young youthfulness, but it's also just excitement to play the game of basketball. They really want to make it about basketball. You want to get back to playing basketball, making it fun. And when you have guys like Mikal and Cam who already have that core, they're twins. They call themselves twins. They do everything together. They have that history. Spencer and Dorian Finney-Smith played together in Dallas. They have a history of Brooklyn. Everyone knows Spencer Dinwiddie's son. When he walks around the court, everyone's like, hey, like you see that. And I do think it's going to take time, but it is exciting. I just think give it a moment, give it a chance. It's going to be a different type of game of basketball. because you don't have Kevin Durant, you don't have Kyrie Irving, but you have a bunch of wing players. They have the length. It's going to be defensive-oriented team, and now you're going to see all those shooters. Whether Steph Curry, Joe Harris, Royce O'Neal, Cam Thomas has been that guy. He does smile, he does have fun. I'm telling you, he does do that. You're going to see that young, and so can they figure it out? Give it a couple more games for Jacque Vaughn to figure out how to kind of work it within the system and how the pieces will kind of play out when it comes to the rotation, to the starting group. And you still have Ben Simmons too, which I have not mentioned as well, his defensive. And they got to figure out that flow and find that chemistry. So it's all there. Now you got to come to a game.
I will.
Come on to Brooklyn. Michael, you too. I do think it's going to be different, but I'm ready to get past this break and now see the product on the court.
And you mentioned they're going for it. So, they're trying to still make the post. Okay.
They believe. Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson said it after the last game. He was like, he told me he really feels the energy in this group. And he said, I really do think that this is a group that can still win and can still make the playoffs. I think all that outside noise, these guys are not listening to. They understand that Kevin Durant, when you trade for a player of his caliber, we understand all that. We understand what they lost. But when you get a good group together and you have good coaches centered around them, they believe that they still got it.
So I was going to ask you, because it's a hell of a first year. I mean, for you. So, okay, maybe that answers my question. I was going to say, Meghan, how would you describe, it ain't even over yet, how would you describe your first season on the sidelines with the Yes Network for the Brooklyn Nets? Maybe that facial expression just now said it all. I don't, because it's I'm sure you got a book somewhere in you about all the things you've seen and heard along the way.
I should write a book for this to be Yes Network has been amazing. The organization has been amazing. Yes, I've gone through a lot. There was no tiptoe into the job in itself, but it's a good uncomfortable. I think that where I'm supposed to be is where I'm supposed to be. And I do think I've learned a lot from this position. I've learned a lot from this team. I learned a lot from the players. Kyrie Irving was always welcoming. It was great to cover him. It was great to cover Kevin Durant. And even seeing the new guys, Mikal Bridges, it feels as if I've had 2 seasons combined within one, honestly. Yeah. But I do think that I was meant to be here, whether that's to be the smile and to be optimistic all the time for the fans. I do believe in that group. I believe that the energy that is exuded out, I know that a lot of people don't get to see a lot behind the scenes, but there is so much love and fun and energy coming from that locker room, honestly, regardless of who's in it. We've had so many guys in and out, but regardless of who's in it, there's been so much there. And so look, it's a good uncomfortable. Sometimes you got to be uncomfortable a little bit to kind of make sure you're still alive. Okay, I still got it. I can do this. Okay.
That's real talk. Hey, last thing, and this is probably a whole other conversation, but Nat and I have had quite a few conversations about your former team. I mean, I know this is your team, but the former team you used to cover, and that's the Grizzlies. What's your quick read on them? And Ja in particular. It's been, shall we say, an eventful season on and off the court for that franchise. What's your read on the Grizzlies?
I think this Grizzlies team is still constantly growing. I think what you're seeing is that them taking it to that next step. And that next step, when you take it to the next step, a lot of trials and tribulations come there. And you're going to get a lot of hate, and you're going to have to learn how to navigate that. And I think that's what we're seeing. But that shows me that they have it. I do think that when a lot of attention comes at you, and a lot of negativity comes at you, that's when you know that you're right on the cusp. Because you guys know, I don't cover the Grizzlies, but I'm still a fan of the Grizzlies. That's home. So I still believe in this group. Taylor Jenkins is doing great. Jaren Jackson Jr., watch out for this group. I'm telling you.
I need for you two to be together watching a Warriors-Grizzlies game. I would watch y'all watch that game. Brooklyn Nets fans, this segment was for you, wherever you are.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.